Happy Thursday, everyone. It is a little late, but we've been busy, and so I didn't want to miss doing a video, so I'm doing it late again. I guess that'll just kind of be my thing. This is when I can get them in. But thank you for watching. We love for you guys to watch, to comment. This evening, we're going to talk about reasons that your offer might have been rejected. So if you know anyone who's looking to purchase, tag them in the video. Maybe we can help them from losing out on their dream home. But we're just going to talk about a few reasons that maybe your offer was rejected. And if you haven't made an offer, reasons that it might get rejected. So hopefully you can avoid this. So first big thing, you didn't have a pre-approval with your offer. And I know people probably feel like agents are just saying this because they want to know that their client has the pre-approval, so they know they're not wasting their time. But it is so important. It's important to you. It's important to the seller. It's important to everyone because it saves you so much heartache. One, if you're not shopping at any price point, but if you put in an offer and you don't have that pre-approval, one, the seller doesn't know if you can afford it, and two, they don't know how serious you are. So why should they pull their house off the market for you and be held up in this contract when you didn't even take the time to get a pre-approval, which is pretty simple and you can get it done fast. So if you do not have a pre-approval and you are ready to make an offer, get a pre-approval fast. Do it because it'll save you. It'll save you so much heartache, and it really looks good for the seller. Super easy. So get your pre-approval. Second reason could be that you're unrealistic, and that's just an honest. Sometimes maybe you're not super familiar with the market conditions, what's going on, and maybe your expectations are unrealistic. So it could be that you just have too many contingencies in your offer. It's not worth the seller to pull off for what they don't feel like there's so much going on that it might not go through. It could look like a low ball to them. That could offend them. So if you're unrealistic with your expectations, it can leave just kind of a bad feel with your sellers. Another thing could be that you gave them a really short response time, which right now we're getting a lot of really short response times. And that's because people want their offer to get accepted before anyone else is coming in. But think about that seller. Maybe they're at work. I mean, all of our sellers have a life too. They're selling their house. Yes, it's important. But just because you were available to write your offer then doesn't mean they're available to review your offer. And they have things to consider too about this offer and why it works or doesn't work for them. So if you give them too short of a response time, they just might not be able to make it. And as agents, we try to verbalize and we try to work with each other on this. But realize that, you're working with real people. So that response time, giving them time, it could be helpful. The seller could be unrealistic, could be unreasonable. They might be a difficult seller. You could have given a good offer, or maybe they're really overpriced, so your offer was low, but it wasn't a low ball offer. Maybe it's completely based on comps. It's a fair price, but they're unrealistic, and there's not much you can do. So just you have to prepare yourself that every seller isn't necessarily a very great seller. So just to save yourself the heartache, you have to know that if your offer is rejected and you looked at the comps and you and your agent have discussed this, they could just be unreasonable, and that you're just going to have to decide what to do because there's not a magic wand in that situation. Another reason could be your agent. And there's a lot of different things that could go on, but maybe that listing agent and your agent had a really bad experience in the past. And that listing agent said something to those clients. This is kind of why it's just important to interview your agents before you hire them. Make sure that they are someone who is good to work with because if they're good to work with you, they're likely good to work with their other agents. See how they're communicating, how they're running their business, and try to get a feel for what that's going to be like, because it's important, because so many things come down to how those two agents communicate during that deal, that if they can communicate well, your transaction goes better. Another important thing is just kind of knowing the seller. And so your agent can call the listing agent and say, are they on a timeline for moving? Is there anything that we can do to make our offer more presentable? So if you know this information, you can cater that, if possible, to what they need. So maybe they need to be in that house until October 13th because they can't go to their next place. But your offer has you closing on the 10th, and they can't make that work. So if you know their timeline, if you know their needs, and those needs can fit into yours, you might be able to make a much more desirable offer for them. And that can just keep it simpler and give you a little bit of a head over someone else if there's another offer. Again, just little helpful hints on why maybe your offer was rejected. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you for watching, and feel free to message or comment.